Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Jay. Now, in the world of entertainment, in the world of multimedia entertainment, a lot of times on this channel we talk about entertainment, but we talk about the business side of entertainment, the side of entertainment that we don't hear about. And that's one of the stories that I wanted to report on right now is Tyler Perry's acquisition of both BET and VH1. Two media, uh, two media conglomerates, two big companies, two big cable network uh, giants being purchased by this media mogul. Now, BET, for him to buy BET, that makes a lot of sense. Um, since 2017, he left Warner Media, where he was producing his shows with first House of Pain, then shows like Sisters and shows like The Oval, to go over to BT. And basically, since that time, he's dominated the entire programming block as far as um, the drama genre in that space. So that makes a lot of sense for him to buy that. BET, of course, has been around since 1981 independently as a news station, and since 1980 as a station in and of itself. It started as part of the Madison Square Garden network, which became the USA Network. When they split, USA Network became USA Network, and BT, which Bob Johnson founded, became BT and became the leader in African American programming. Bobby Jones gospel, of course, a lot of hip hop music and shows that we grew up with. Rap City, The Basement, for example. 106 in Park, another example. A lot of sitcoms, everything and anything, even newsworthy stuff like the Rodney King riots in '92. Everything and everything was on BT. It was a staple of us growing up in the urban environments as kids. And then it was sold to Viacom in 2000. Bob Johnson sold it, and it kind of went down the drain. It wasn't the same. It didn't have the same vibe. It didn't have the same feel. And for years, it's kind of, you know, wandered around like a rutless boat and really hasn't had any direction, really hasn't had any sort of, didn't have the same sort of feel. Now that Tyler Perry is owning it, now it may go back to what it was when Bob Johnson owned it, which was unique, direct programming geared towards the African American and urban communities, which I hope it does. I hope they revive certain things that made the network special and made the network really successful when I was growing up. As far as VH1, there are a lot of things that I would like to see him do with VH1 as well. One is to revive the Behind the Music show. Behind the Music, because I am a music fanatic, and that was the really focus of VH1 to provide, to cater to the softer side of music, the more adult contemporary side of music when it was founded in the 1980s. And they had unique shows like Pop Up Video and Behind the Music. But Behind the Music, I really loved because that gave us a unique window into a lot of our stars that we'd grown up with, that we were listening to, that were from a bygone era, maybe the early 80s, maybe like TLC. They were still kind of relevant, but TLC was going through that problems, and it really helped the problems with the Crazy Sexy Cool era, and it really helped to flesh out the problems that they were having. An explanation beyond, that outburst they had at that award show. It helped the fans that were not uber mega fans like Lisa, for example, um, helped us understand what was going on, what was really happening as far as TLC's personal issues. Yeah, yeah, at least. So behind the uh, behind the music was I summoned Lisa said I summoned her. Behind the music was very good. I would love to see a behind the music with some of the newer artists that kind of have interesting stories to tell and interesting stuff to tell. So that could be something that they could revive. Pop up video was always pretty cool too because just like behind the music, whereas you got to see the dissection of the artist and their personal life and the journeys that they were going through. In pop up video, you got to see what the video directors were, little quips, um, little strange facts regarding the video that was being played. A lot of times they were retro videos. And VH1, but over the years, VH1 also has kind of started to cater to a urban audience with Love and Hip Hop franchise, which is really odd because when we were growing up in the 90s, VH1 was the whitest of the three video channels and really did not cater to an African American audience at all. But when Jim Jones had this idea for Love and Hip Hop, a reality show based around hip hop artists, in certain cities, that they saw a market for that, and all of a sudden, uh, VH1 becomes what VH1 begins to serve a market that BET did not serve. You know what I mean? So, or was no longer serving. But I hope that Tyler Perry, I know his focus is really sitcoms and drama shows and all that, but I hope he brings back the music to these networks. Um, Music videos, people say that it's a bygone medium. It doesn't exist anymore. There's no need for it to exist because you have Spotify, you have YouTube. You can watch any video you want. That's just something of the past. That's something that we hold on to as millennials that we need to let go of. Younger Gen Z is always saying that. But, you know, as Michael Jackson showed, the video could be another form of artistic expression and could really bring out a song. Videos nowadays are so boring and so vanilla. Like a video nowadays, especially in hip hop, is like a rapper rapping in the street in normal street clothes and everyone dancing around him. This is what we. Lisa's saying that she hopes that he pairs up with somebody like Diddy to bring back the music aspect. Yeah. So videos uh, these days are all the same thing. So that's probably why these channels don't focus on videos anymore. You know what I mean? They focus on TV shows now, or used to reality shows. Reality shows kind of a thing of the past. That's more of the 2000s. Now they want to go into these long streaming shows that you can binge because binge watching is a thing. So that's where Tyler Perry comes in with Sisters or The Oval. But music videos was an essential component to these networks. 106 in Park served such a niche for us growing up as hip hop and R&B fans because Total Request Live was on MTV, but Total Request Live they would only play a snippet of a hip hop and R&B video, and the video that we wanted to watch was never at the top. They did this a lot with um, a lot of DMX's songs. DMX was dropping hit after hit in 1998, 1999, but was Total Request Live playing it? Same thing with TLC with Fan Mail. They was dropping No Scrubs. They was dropping Unpretty. But did Total Request Live really play the whole song? No, they played a snippet of it. So 106 in Park, uh, yeah, Lisa says she don't think he got with both channels were just drama shows. No, and I don't think VH1 really is good with any of the drama shows. I haven't seen any drama show that's VH1, put out by VH1. They've done years ago. They did a movie retrospective on the 1960s that was pretty good, but that was years ago. That was like in the 90s when they were really still focused on uh, musical oriented things. But it'd be interesting to see what he does with VH1, because VH1, that I didn't even know VH1 was actually on that Paramount Plus was looking to sell. Paramount Global, which puts out Paramount Plus, was willing to sell um, VH1. On There were talks for months about BT. I mean, BT being sold, Diddy looking to buy it, uh, and him looking to buy it, and Baron Allen looking to buy it as well. These three pulling their resources together. Lee says he should have took MTV. Yeah, that would have been interesting. That would have been an interesting footnote, because here's a station that was launched explicitly with the explicit directive never to play black artists, and now a black guy owns it. That would have been the ultimate revenge. This would have been the entertainment business equivalent of Barack Obama living in the White House. Here's a place not built for black people, where black people were intentionally excluded from, and now a black guy owns it. You know what I mean? That would have been cool. Lisa says once Total Request Live started cutting the videos, 106 in Park did the same thing. Yeah, and that was what sucked. We wanted them to play the whole thing, but it kind of mattered and it kind of didn't matter, because it kind of mattered to us that went to school, because we only got to see the video when they did like Total Request Live or 106 in Park type shit. But if you stood home from school, you saw the videos all day. Now you don't see the videos at all on MTV, BET, or VH1. You know what I mean? Music videos went by the wayside. Uh, Lisa says BET can have talk shows. Yeah, yeah, BET can have that. Um, Another thing with BET I would love to see is political type talk shows. You know what I mean? Like, there are so many discussions that we have within groups, like uh, within Facebook or Instagram groups or social media groups, like the Shade Room, right? For example, different African American spaces, and Clubhouse, the Clubhouse app that WAC 100 puts out, different African American spaces that we talk about different issues that relate to POC and the African American community explicitly. And these issues, these gender type issues, these social issues, these health related issues, these issues are never discussed on television, as if these issues don't even exist. And I would love to see something like, for example, what uh, the McLaughlin group, like a group discussion of different African American type luminaries and different talking heads. Roland Martin had it on TV1 for a while. He would do that, where he would have, like, say, Dr. Umar Johnson on there, right? Or somebody like whomever, like a black congressman or woman, and he would have these back and forth discussions. And it helps people to understand the scope of things that are really going on, and allows them to form their opinions. You know what I mean? So even controversial figures like like um, somebody on YouTube, like the late Kevin Samuels, if he were still alive, somebody like that. You know what I mean? Somebody that the mainstream media is not really giving a voice to, and you might not even necessarily agree with their opinion, but you hear them out. You know what I mean? Teen Summit is another one. They say is exactly right. What the young people, you know what I mean? Hearing the young people's opinions. Something like Tony Brown's Journal that used to appear on BT for a while with political people. You know what I mean? Talking heads, different people with different opinions. Like Lisa saying, Teen Summit with the kids to talk about things like dating, things like gun violence, things that we hear about, but from normal people, not just from news anchors. You know what I mean? Normal people, people with opinions, things like that. Or they could do an interactive thing, have a thing where have a show where they get viral videos to come in and the people talk, have these like town hall discussions or debates via viral video, together a coherent viral video like we're doing right now, an opinion, limited profanity because it has to be on TV, professional, and express your opinion about a certain topic related to African American issues. I would love to see that. I would love to see, and this is kind of skewing into the nerdy side of me, but I would love to see discussions on African American history, things that we don't necessarily or really hear about when it comes to Black history and Black education. You know what I mean? Things like the 1619 project that we just saw, that documentary, other things like that that appeal to the African American audience. Yeah, you can have your fun. You can have, like Lisa is saying, music videos, but another good idea that she came up with, the making of music videos. Show us what goes into the music videos. Show us and bring back original movies, black themed movies that are made just for BT, made for television movies, because so much of television right now is beyond even movie production. We've talked about it, how HBO has produced Game of Thrones, uh, AMC has produced Breaking Bad, things like that are catered towards a white or general audience. I would love to see movies catered towards the African American audience that just appear for BET that are high quality. You know what I mean? And they're able to do it. African American sitcoms is another one. You know what I mean? Better, different, newer sitcoms. I mean, most of the great shows that we all love that were black shows were great sitcoms. Bring some of those, bring newer comedians, expose newer comedians, give newer black comedians um, a platform, especially black female comedians, a platform, and give them shows. Lisa is saying bring back Sunday religious shows. Exactly. Um, you know, there are so many things that you can do, so many avenues that you can take, that Tyler Perry can take the new BT into. So many different things that the African American audience wasn't getting from BT for a very long time. BT was a dead channel. I remember when Coretta Sky King died, they hardly covered it. I mean, they covered it for a while, but they hardly covered it. And people, I remember even Lisa was saying at that time, like, damn, this is BT. This is Black Entertainment Television. And I'm not even talking about, the most prominent Black woman um, in the history of civil rights, the woman that was associated with Martin Luther King, his wife. You know what I mean? So for years, since Bob Johnson sold it, I feel like BT has neglected the true essence of Black culture in movies, shows, and politics and everything. You know what I mean? And for that, you're only BT in name only. You know what I'm saying? So hold these issues, hold these discussions, hold these open forums. Make it a place where Black people of all opinions can feel safe and can feel validated. You want Black in it. Um, you want Black music, a better Black music. You want Black shows, Black movies made for the network, high quality, made for the network. Because Tyler Perry can do it. He owns a movie studio. You know what I mean? So he can. The same thing we're seeing, like I said, from these other networks, AMC, all that high quality TV shows that are basically movies. We can see it from BET, but from a Black perspective. Give, like I said, Black comedians a chance, Black talking heads, Black political talking heads a chance, religious shows like Lisa's talking about. Uh, Lisa's saying he can bring Hispanic stuff into it also, since hip hop is a part of Hispanic culture. Yeah, he could. He could show uh, like Cardi B and Fat Joe. Yeah, yeah, he could do that. Um, there's so much stuff he could show, so much avenues he could take in this new BT. It's really exciting, guys. It's really exciting for those that have grown up with BT and for years complained that BT had lost its way. The VH1, I don't really know. I'm not as excited for VH1 because VH1 I was never really a fan of, other than Love and Hip Hop and some of the older stuff. Behind the music was what struck me. But with BT, I'm really excited because BT represents to me, um, was the chief communicator of the culture, from Christian shows to hip hop to news to fashion to hits on the street. Remember hits on the street? That's what I'm uh, Lisa saying, I'm just worried of because of how. Oh yeah, Lisa used to be a fan of the have and have nots, and he ended it um, pretty weird. And he needs better writers. Tyler Perry cannot do everything on his own. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing, guys. He is one human being, and he likes to be hands on, and that's cool to be hands on. But at the same time, even though it's your baby, even though it's your creative, you've created, it's come from your mind, your creative genius, your creative inspiration. You need help. You know what I mean? Rome wasn't built. Not only was not Rome built in a day, Rome wasn't built on its own. And I think, yeah, okay, he's a he's a Virgo. That explains it. But you need help. You know what I mean? You need give other writers a chance. For example, Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor was a comedic genius. The man was his comedic timing was impeccable. He didn't need help writing, but he helped people bring him in, he helped bring in other people, and he exposed the world to Paul Mooney. And had he not exposed the world to Paul Mooney, we'd be missing out on another creative genius. Sometimes you need a little helping hand. Tyler Perry could help mentor other Black directors and writers, younger ones, people that are more in touch with the younger African American community. Give other people a chance and other people an opportunity. Use your brand to bring in others and broaden the opportunities for other Black people in entertainment, and because that's the overall overarching stereotype, unfortunately, about communities of color is that we never help each other in any aspect of life. We get successful, and that's all we ever care about is us and ours. We don't bring our brother or sister up. We all try to always either tear them down or completely ignore them. And my advice to them would be use this as an outlet to expose the world to a plethora of black comedy writers, black drama writers, black showrunners, women as well as men, LGBT as well as straight. You know what I mean? Show the entire spectrum of black art with this. Use this as a way to push the culture forward instead of just pushing your own agenda forward and you Tyler Perry use your brand to expand and to help others out because that's what we need in our, in our culture, in African American culture. We're always complaining, we're always sitting here and saying, "Oh, we wish that the white media studios would give us a chance to express what we want, to tell our stories the way we want to tell them." You know what I mean? And we get happy when uh, they do it in The Little Mermaid or they do it in Black Panther. But if we did it ourselves, if Tyler Perry took his position in Hollywood that he has and helped used it to help expand it, then we wouldn't have to be begging at the tables of Disney or other white studios for a chance to tell our stories. We'd be able to tell our own stories without caring what they have to say. Because they're not going to be able to tell our stories the way we're going to be able to tell our stories. They're just going to twist it around. They're just going to invalidate it. They're just going to say, like they said with Cleopatra, like they said with The Little Mermaid, you don't belong. Or because somebody begged to get in and and got in, however they got in, and now white people are upset. But if we did our own thing, I guarantee, and this always happens. This happens with music. This happens with culture in general. Black people do something cool, and white people want to imitate it. So I guarantee you, if Tyler Perry comes out with a hell of a lot of new shows and a hell of a lot of new um, material for the new BT, white people will love it so much because it's independent and it's new and it's energetic and he introduces the world to new writers, new entertainers, new filmmakers, whatever, that it'll become so cool and so accepted by society that white people will want to imitate it. Because that's something that always happens. You know what I'm saying? Black people originate, white people imitate. We know this to be true. You know what I'm saying? This was the case with hip hop. Why do you think hip hop was created? Hip hop was created because uh, because the white music industry was excluding black artists or taking black artists' material like they did with Elvis and creating a white face to it or attaching a white face to it. You know, and then black people were like, okay, that's what you want to do to me? Then I'm gonna go create my own shit. And at first, white people didn't like it. They didn't respect it. They called it that they said it was not music because we weren't playing instruments. But keep in mind that the reason why that happened, that many black young people at that time in the late 60s and early 70s weren't playing any music, was because music programs were taken out of city schools, so they weren't able to learn how to play instruments. So they took what they had, they made something out of nothing, as black culture often does. Necessity is the mother of invention all time, but especially in black culture because of racism, white supremacy, and economic deprivation. We had to do that. We had no choice but to do that. We couldn't learn to play musical instruments because our schools and the places we were living were deprived of that. So we created something new with electronic record players, and we called it hip hop. We took something out of nothing and we created hip hop. And then fast forward to the 2020s. Now, like Lisa's saying, they want to say they created it. When in reality, when we first created it, you didn't want nothing to do with it. You said it was no good. You said it was trash. You said it was garbage. You said it wasn't music. But now we created it. We made it popular all around the world, often imitated, never duplicated. And now you want a piece of it and say you created it. Bullshit. And it's like that with anything else. You know what I mean? It was HSBCUs. Why do HSBCUs exist? HSBCUs exist because they wouldn't let black people into white universities. They wouldn't let them into Harvard. They wouldn't let them into Yale. They wouldn't let them into Princeton. Why did the Negro Leagues exist in baseball? Because of the decree standing all the way back to the 1880s that black people weren't allowed to play baseball. So what do? They go and they create their own baseball league, and their baseball league actually has better athletes than the white baseball league. So then in 1947, they want to integrate baseball and bring over some of those great black athletes like Jackie Robinson, like Josh Gibson, like Satchel Paige to Major League Baseball just to make it better. Come on, that's what always happens. That's we've been playing this game since the beginning of time, since the beginning of American history, where black people take something out of nothing, make chicken salad out of chicken shit, the scraps they were given, even food, even literal food, soul food is actually is the ingredients of soul food are the ingredients that were given to the slaves. Watch this documentary, guys, called High on the Hog. The ingredients that was given to the slaves during slavery that was basically garbage ingredients, things that the slave masters threw out. You know what I mean? Threw in the trash, and they would give it to the slaves. They wouldn't even give it to their dogs, their pets, their animals at that time. But like things like chitlins, things like pork rinds, they would give to the slaves. And this cuisine, black people were so creative and ingenuitive with this cuisine that they created one of the greatest cuisines in the history of all cuisines, one of the tastiest cuisines in all of cuisines. So the ability of African Americans to take something out of nothing and be shut out from something, but still find a way to make a way, is something that the white community in the United States is very envious about. So whatever African Americans are doing, they try to imitate it because they know that they can create it. Because of the economic situation, they're given so much economic surplus that they don't have to feel that they have to create anything. They don't have to feel like they have to be innovative. So, but the African American does community does feel like that because they're working with less because of racism, white supremacy, and exclusion from the general mainstream culture. You know what I mean? I mean, KFC is one of the most popular brands in the history of food, and that was basically that was a black person's recipe. Popeyes was a black person's recipe. Soul food, the shit they look down on. Hip hop, the shit they look down on. Um, Jazz, they look down on that. Rock and roll originally when it first came out, they looked down on it as jungle music. Um, Everything, you know what I mean? Everything, uh, braids, big butts, even natural stuff, big butts, big lips, big everything. You know what I mean? Even that kind of stuff was looked down upon by white society, but then now is embraced by white society and claimed by white society as cultural appropriation. You know what I mean? Even words that come out of people's mouths, like Karen, it was embraced by the alt right community. The alt right community doesn't even like African Americans and are all blatantly racist towards African Americans. You know, so if Tyler Perry can turn BET around and make it something successful and something innovative and open the door for African Americans in ways that it's been shut in Hollywood by white directors, because see the white directors they want to dictate what they want to dictate. They want to stir up. They want to steer the ship. They want to say what you can and cannot make with regards to African American art, and that's not the way it got to be. Um, Black producers like Lee Daniels. Well, I would say that Tyler Perry gave Lee Daniels a shot. Lee Daniels did kind of, he did kind of do already. with Lee Daniels. But I'm saying he gave Lee Daniels a shot, and Lee took the ball and ran with it because Empire on Fox changed what African American movies were all about. Because for the longest time, TV shows rather, for the longest time, there was a consensus among Hollywood producers and television producers that African American dramas were never successful. Yeah, they had Soul Food on Showtime, but that was Showtime. That was premium cable. But on regular TV, black dramas were never a thing. And then Empire came out, and Empire changed the game with that. It was if it was ever a black show on TV, it was either a crime show like New York Undercover, or it was a comedy show like Barton or The Fresh Prince or a number of other black sitcoms going back since the 70s. So um, Empire came out and changed that. Now we have Power. Now we have 50 producing his shows. BMF. We have different avenues because of Empire. Empire paved the way. Empire walked so these others could run. You know, and the consensus is completely different. We even have comedy shows being remade over and revamped over into drama shows, such as The Fresh Prince and other ones with different unique takes, such as All American. So Tyler Perry could do something like that, you know. So a black man finally owns a network. Maybe it's not what I mean. Because I'm laughing because the conspiracy theorists always say that Bill Cosby was black. And we have a video on this too on this channel. Bill Cosby was blacklisted because he didn't because he wanted to buy NBC. Remember, they said, "Oh, he wanted to buy NBC. They didn't want a black man to own a network." And I believe part of that was true, but I also believe that Bill Cosby was doing what Bill Cosby was doing. I mean, let's make that clear. But now with this Tyler Perry thing, well, black man finally owns the network, and Tyler and Perry and Spike Lee need to put aside their beef. I know they've had beef for the longest, especially on Spike Lee's side, because when Tyler was doing his thing with Medea, Spike was feeling away. You know what I mean? Because Spike, by the time the 2000s came about, Spike Lee's shit was no longer relevant. You know what I mean? Me and Lisa went to see that St. Anne's movie, Miracle at St. Anne's, about the segregated unit in World War II, and that shit was so boring, man. You know what I mean? Spike had lost his touch. It wasn't like in the late '80s and early '90s when he was making Do the Right Thing and Malcolm X and Jungle Fever, and up until when he made Summer of Sam, like that was his lowest point. It was an interesting take on New York history and everything, but he lost his touch by the 2000s when Tyler was really making all the money, and then he started to hate on Tyler. Yeah, Lisa said we fell asleep. Yeah, Lisa said she fell asleep when we saw it. Yeah, 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 Lisa. I think I get where he was coming at because like the story of African American soldiers in World War II was never really told, and I think that's an interesting. I think Red Tails did a better job. George Lucas, of course, he doesn't get credit for anything outside of Indiana Jones and Star Wars. We love George on this channel. He never gets credit for Red Tails, the story about the Tuskegee Airmen, which I think is one of his best movies. I think that was better than Miracle at St. Anne's. And the African American situation, the African American history of um, them being soldiers in World War II is a very interesting one. Not only because they served in segregated units, but the fact that they served in segregated units and were fighting, they were serving under a white supremacist regime in America and openly fighting another white supremacist regime in the Nazis that was explicitly white supremacist, that is subscribed to an ideology of white supremacy. So the kind of contradiction with that was never really explored when it comes to soldiers, African American soldiers who liberated the Nazi concentration camps in Eastern Europe, like the Tuskegee Airmen. It was explored the best, I think, in Red Tails, and I think that's what Spike was getting at with Miracle of Saint Anne. But it was kind of a boring movie. Yes. um, and well, this is completely off topic, but the Biggie movie that was supposed to that was purported to come out, Wallace, that's a Pixar, was a Pixar production, is fake. Uh, uh, Pixar is not making a Biggie movie, but maybe Tyler Perry can with the new BET make a Biggie animated movie. I don't know how you could clean up that kind of animation, but anyway, I hope he does big things with BET as far as dramas, as far as movies, comedies, gospel shows, everything opening up. There's so much to do. Yeah, at least says why you even bring that up. I don't know because when I thought it was released, I kind of was excited. I mean, look, I think that Biggie and Pac, this is Pac's birthday today. I think that Biggie and Pac have been going for so many years, over 20 years now, that people should stop talking about them. But hey, I would make this one exception with that. If there were ever really a Biggie animated movie by Pixar or any animation studio, I would love to see it because again, we haven't really seen good quality black animation since the Boondocks was canceled. Not that Biggie has to be the subject, but how about another animation series on the new BET? Animation, okay, we had Soul in 2020. Okay, I'll give you that. Soul was one of was a really good movie. It wasn't really an all black cast, but it was a black theme. You know. But other we need other black animation. There's so little in the way of animation when it comes to black animation that we need to see more. And when I heard about Wallace, I'm like, okay, yeah, Soul was a good movie. I'm not saying it wasn't, but I'm saying as far as like a lot of black animation, you rarely see it. You know, in uh, this new BT should be an avenue to explore different types of black medium that we don't see. Like I said, Black History documentaries, Black animation, Black discussion shows, Black gospel shows, whatever. You know what I mean? Like the whole African American experience, news, everything. You know what I mean? And it once BT was that. I mean that's the point of BT. You know, even black cooking shows. Cooking shows, especially in the 2000s, were all the rage. Paula Dean had a show. Rachel Ray had a show. Guy Fieri had a show. Ray, um, all that. Why not show one that's African American themed? Makes sense to me. And there are a lot of African Americans who are vegans, you know, and vegetarians. So show that. Expose some people to some other sides of black culture that they may not be aware of or know about. That black people ain't just a monolith. They ain't just ghetto. They ain't just Ray Rays and Pookies and Keishas, you know, with dyed hair and baggy jeans and what the white media portrays us to be. Show us in all our forms and incarnations, right? That's another good idea. Lisa says a reality competition show. Yep. Because we don't, I mean, the black performers, yes, there have been black people that have won American Idol and America's Got Talent and things like that. But there haven't really been all that many. They've been geared towards mostly white audiences. You know, this new BT is a chance. This is our second chance. You know, this could be our second chance to start over. You know, when you have a second chance in life, the mistakes that you made the first time, you never make those mistakes again. Once again, BT is back in the hands of a black owner, so he has the opportunity to turn it all around, and everything negative that was proliferated into black culture in the last 23 years since Viacom, a white media company, owned BT, could be reversed. Could be something new, something different. He has that chance again. You know, so let's see what he does with it. And as far as VH1, that's an extra added bonus. That's a chance. That's another chance. He could, he could, he could turn that into another BET. He could make one for music and one for just shows. This is exciting, guys. This is really exciting. Whenever you see this kind of stuff, and I know people always, we talked about this with the WWE, UFC, Endeavor merger. People always say, oh, when new business acquisitions happen and entertainment companies go into new ownerships, you never know what can happen. And that's true. You know what I'm saying? Because thank God Disney didn't buy it because, they fuck up everything. you know, but. Um, that's always true. We gave examples of that, but it's also true that it could be new life. It could be it could be a revitalization of making the old new again, restoring the greatness of black culture into um, through BET. Hopefully that happens. Anyway, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell button to see when my next video is coming out. Thank you, Lisa, for contributing, and let's hope and let's hold our hats and see what Tyler Perry is going to do with BET and VH1 for the next coming years. What's his ideas? Is he going to open up the door and allow other people to a chance and other people opportunities, or is he just going to do what he did with the haves and have-nots, which is why the have and have-nots ran out of ideas because you're one man. You don't know it all, bro. You know what I mean? You need a team of writers. You need to bounce ideas off other people. One man, despite him being a genius, could run out of ideas. One person can only create so much. You know, you know, you know. Peace.